Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching episode 5 of Hawkeye. And I think I definitely called it when it came to one of my predictions in the previous episode. But let's get to the story, shall we? After meeting up with Yelena last week, we see what she's been doing this whole time. Basically, ever since the end of Black Widow, she's been going around the world and freeing other widows of their brainwashing. Even when one of them turns out not to be brainwashed and she's just been killing for money so she can afford a really expensive mansion. But she also blames Clint Barton for the death of Natasha, even though we fans know that Clint wanted to die at that point, and Natasha allowed herself to be killed so Clint could still live with his family, and she had none to go back to. Well, she just cared about Clint that so much that she, wanted to do that. But Yelena, of course, didn't get the message. She wants to kill Clint for not only that, but all the other people he's killed as the Ronin. And yeah, apparently he's killed a ton of people in the events of Avengers Endgame. So I have no idea how many he's killed, but apparently it's a lot. So, seeing as he realizes he wants to finish this with Maya, Clint decides to give her a message to meet him at the used car lot where she first met the Ronin, so they could have a final showdown. So he shows up in his Ronin uniform, takes out the tracksuit thugs, has a pretty cool fight scene, and ultimately Kate has to save him when Maya gets close to taking him down. I'm glad Kate had a few moments where she actually doubted herself here, considering that all the other stuff that's happened and all the times where she screwed up. It actually makes her feel a bit more believable when she does end up arriving at the last second to save Hawkeye. So I appreciate we have that element to it. On top of that, we have some good comedy with Pizza Dog and one of the LARPers who actually helps Hawkeye out and lets him stay at his place. I like how grounded this series has been overall, especially since it feels the most like one of the old Netflix series that Marvel used to have. You know, the ones with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, all those. Especially considering the New York setting and the more grounded fight choreography, it just clearly has more of a budget than Netflix does, considering that with the Netflix series it felt like they couldn't have stunt doubles and interior lighting in the same scene. Here, the fight scenes are well thought out, they're well choreographed, and I even like a lot of the ALS conversations between Kazi and Maya, and between Maya and Hawkeye. It adds a lot of sense of legitimacy to the whole thing. But of course, the big talking point is the ending episode twist, where it turns out it was Eleanor, Kate's mom, who hired Yelena, and the one who allowed her to do that was the frickin' Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio. Yep, the Kingpin from Daredevil is back, and I actually really like that, considering he was one of my favorite villains from the Netflix shows. And if he's back, I'm guessing it's possible they could bring Matt Murdock back, and if they do that with him, they could do the same with Jessica and Luke. I'm glad they haven't forgotten about the Marvel Netflix series, considering that for a while it seemed like those shows just sort of did their own thing, and they didn't get involved that much with the movies. And after the Defenders happened, and after the Marvel Netflix shows just stopped coming out, I just figured Kevin Feige would ignore them completely. But turns out I guess he isn't. Not only are we getting several Spider-Man villains from the past in the new Spider-Man movie that I'll cover tomorrow, but we're also getting Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin coming back. This just complicates the MCU even further, but I'm all here for it, and I can't wait to see how they wrap the series up. So yeah, this is probably going to get a pretty high rating when it's all said and done. See you next time.